Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this academic advising session for the MA SocSci degree, taking place as part of the online Offer Holders Open Day event here at the University of Glasgow. Before we get started, I'm just going to introduce myself and the session more generally. So my name's Ian McElroy, and I'm a student operations specialist within the curriculum guidance and support team in the College of Social Sciences. The role of this team is to support social sciences students at undergraduate level in their academic journey right from the moment they join us all the way through to when they graduate in terms of their curriculum, which is course choice and subjects, and more widely as a point of contact for support relating to your studies. And if you've attended an open day in person at any point, chances are you've met me or one of my colleagues at those sessions. So the purpose of this session is to act as an information and Q&A session, so you can hopefully get all the information you need about the MA SocSci Social Sciences degree here and be able to answer any questions that you might have. So this will take the form of a presentation given by the Chief Advisor of Studies in the college, who is Dr. Zuzana Varga, and she will explore the subjects that can be taken at the degree structure generally, and just explain what the degree is as a concept. There's a number of other sessions throughout the day as well, which will be focusing on specific subjects and the support services which are available at the university, and I would definitely encourage you to check these out. Arts are doing some, College of Arts and Humanities are doing talks later on as well, and I would encourage you to check them out as well because there is some overlap. And please do ask questions. We'll look to answer these as we go along, but if there's any questions that are shared by a lot of people, we'll try and cover them during the talk at the end as well. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to show you a QR code for Mentimeter. So if you could scan the QR code and just fill in some of the basic information, this will give us a little bit of an idea about who's attending the event, what people are feeling today about the event, and where you're from, just to give us a wee bit more information. So if you could just scan the QR code. I would do it myself, but I don't think that would benefit anyone. So I'll give you a few minutes to scan that, and then we'll move on to have a little look. Don't worry, it's not compulsory. If you've got anything else going on, you can't access your phone, don't worry. We'll kick on to the presentation shortly. So once we get a wee bit more information on that, I will pass straight across to the Chief Advisor of Studies. Let's have a wee look, see if we have any responses. As I said, don't worry if you don't feel like doing it. It's not compulsory at all. That's good. Oh, that's even better. That's what we like to see. Excellent. I'm going to hope everyone feels even better once we've got more of an understanding of the degree afterwards as well. So that's good. And if anyone is in Glasgow at the moment, it is very sunny, so that makes everyone feel a lot better here. So that's good. We'll take a wee look to see where people are tuning in from as well. Let's have a look. Oh, this one takes longer to update, I think, unfortunately. Oh, here we go. Starting to pop into focus now. So yeah, we will have students tuning in from all over the world usually. We've got a very international student body in the College of Social Sciences. So we will have quite a lot of home students from Scotland and from the rest of the UK, but we also regularly have students from all over the world coming here for all the various courses in the business school or in social and political sciences or some of the other subjects that we offer as well. So it's nice to see that represented today as well in this little session. And if you do have any questions already that you're thinking that you'd really like an answer to, you can pop them into Mentimeter as well, and we can cover them. Either we will cover them or the Chief Advisor can cover them during their presentation if we can. you can also ask questions and comments as well, and we'll try and get round to them as we go. And at the end, if there's any time left over, we'll cover any frequently asked questions then. But it looks like yes, the first question posted is a very good one. Learn more of the joint honours degree, and the Chief Advisor will cover that, definitely. The different modules and what you'll be able to learn. So the Chief Advisor will briefly cover the various subjects that you can take and the combinations of these. So hopefully we'll be able to cover a lot of that for you. We can also provide links to the various parts of the university website, which will list all the courses, all the subjects that are available within the college. Excellent. So what we'll do is, instead of having to listen to me, I'll pass on to the Chief Advisor, Dr. Zuzana Varga, who will take over and take you through a little presentation of the MA SocSci degree. So I'll be back at the very end, so enjoy.
Right, thank you. I'm unmuted now. So thank you very, very much for coming along today. My name is Zuzana Varga, and I'm the Chief Advisor of Studies on the MA SocSci degree. Now, there are a few interesting things I would like to mention to you. One is that I've been working at this university for 16 years, which is a very, very, very long time. Glasgow University is one of the what's called, in the UK, is called Russell Group universities. That is very, very important because the Russell Group is the group of elite universities of the UK. That is that we take pride in our excellence in both in teaching and in scholarship. We are a university which is where teaching is research-led teaching, and that means that my colleagues, and also myself perhaps, but certainly my colleagues, are excellent researchers, and they are very, very, very much at the top of their top of their academic discipline. But one of the reasons why it's worth coming to Glasgow University, because you meet world-class scholars and you meet very, very good, excellent lecturers and teachers as well. The other thing I thought it's worth mentioning, and as I say, I'm talking from experience now because I've been here for 16 years now. The other thing is very important to mention is Glasgow University is one of the what are called the ancient universities of Scotland. And there are 4 universities in this category: Aberdeen, St Andrews, Edinburgh, and Glasgow. And if you were to look at on the map, you would see that kind of a reversed L shape coming from Aberdeen down all the way to Glasgow. This is really, really important from the perspective of what I'm going to talk about, because it's only the ancient University of Scotland that offer 4-year MA degrees. An MA here doesn't mean it's a master's degree in the sense of it being a postgraduate degree. It's an undergraduate degree that lasts 4 years, and it's very unique. It's typical of the Scottish system. It's very important to bear this in mind, because people are going to ask you, if you decide to come to Glasgow University, which I'm hoping you will do, people will ask you why you have an MA instead of a BA, or why you didn't do an undergrad degree, and then you can reassure them that actually you have done an undergrad degree that took 4 years to do, because this is the standard. Now, the fact that you are with us for 4 years has a number of advantages as well, and this is what is called a flexible degree. A flexible degree doesn't mean that you can study any combination of subjects, but you have more of a choice than you would have in a kind of single, typical BA degree. Something else, it's called MA SocSci. And you will notice, and you will probably note, that there is also an MA which is effectively an MA in Arts. These are 2 slightly different things. MA stands for Master of Arts, but that doesn't matter to us just now. There is an arts degree which is called an MA, and there's also a SocSci degree which is also called an MA, and then in brackets you have MA SocSci. So this is what we are going to talk about now. What can you study when you are doing an MA SocSci degree? And this is where life becomes very, very interesting and complicated at the same time. This all has to do with the flexibility of our degree and the fact that you do have a certain amount of choice. You have a certain amount of choice at the moment of entry, and you can also modify, if you like, your degree as you go along. but it's very important to understand what subjects you can choose from when you come to us in September. We call these things subjects rather than modules. They're effectively the same thing as modules, for instance, that other university, for instance, St. Andrews uses the term modules. We call them subjects, but they're really the same kind of thing. So what you see on this chart, on these beautiful colors, is green and purple and fuchsia and also dark blue. What does this all mean? They are color coded for us. This is the list of those subjects that you can study as part of your MA degree, MA SocSci degree. That's what I'm talking about now. In particular, these are what we call our core subjects. And let me just have a look at these core subjects. So the dark blue subjects are business management, economics, and business economics, which has three obviously slightly different things. Business economics is not the combination of business management and economics, right? So it's a different thing. These are in dark blue because they are taught in the Adam Smith Business School, which is one of the leading institutions in the country and also internationally. The business school is triple accredited, which means it's in a very elite league of international of business schools internationally. So on the one hand, you have the business subjects. The second, the big purple thing in the middle, is those subjects that are taught in the School of Social and Political Sciences. And the School of Social and Political Sciences is one of the largest schools of the university. It's very established, it's very well known, and it's also a world-leading institution in social science subjects. Within the SPS, Social and Political Sciences, we have 6 subjects, and these are Central East European Studies, Economic and Social History, Public Policy, Politics, International Relations. They're kind of taught together, but they're still slightly different things, and Sociology. Now, at this point, you are going to ask me the question, what exactly are these? And I'm not going to explain sociology, and I'm not going to explain politics or international relations. It's worth looking at public policy, which is something that really matters to most of us, because consequence of public policy in real life is what we experience on a daily basis. We also have economic and social history, which again is a unique subject, and not many universities in the UK or indeed in the world have something specifically dedicated to economic and social history. Basically, it is what it says. It teaches economic and social history. We also have history in a separate subject in arts. So these are 2 different things really, but there is a certain overlap between social history and history per se. And finally, there is also Central and East European Studies. And this is where I work when I'm not working as chief advisor. This is again a fairly unusual thing. There are only 2 institutions in the United Kingdom that specialize in Central and East European Studies. One is down in London, part of UCL, Slavonic and East European Studies, and the second is ourselves, Central East European Studies. The reason why I thought I would mention these things specifically and describe them in some detail is because we teach. Because we are a very, very big university, and we are in a position to teach subjects that are either unique in Scotland or indeed fairly unusual in the UK as well. So these are the purple areas, and I'm moving on to geography and psychology now. Geography is taught in the School of Geographical and Earth Sciences, appropriately, they are colored green, and geography is really, really geography, as you would expect. We also teach psychology, which is taught in the School of Psychology and Neuroscience. Also, what is not here, but we can also take, is mathematics and computing science are also possibilities for you to study. I would like to stop for a second on psychology, because that's something that intrigues everyone. Psychology can be taught as part of 3 different degrees. Psychology is taught as part of the MA SocSci degree, which is what we are talking about now. There is also a Bachelor of Science degree in psychology, and there is also an arts degree in psychology. This is not to say that they learn different things in class. This is to say that there is one subject called psychology, but the student can study other subjects in addition to psychology. In fact, we all want you to study different subjects at the same time, not just psychology or international relations or any of these other things. So these I've just listed the core subjects of the MA SocSci degree, but I would also like to mention to you that you can combine your subjects in MA SocSci on the MA SocSci degree with a number of subjects in arts. And I'm not going to go into details about what arts teaches. Arts teaches about, I couldn't possibly tell you, but it's between 20 and 30 or possibly more subjects, including subjects like English literature and film studies and archaeology and Celtic civilization and classic and modern languages. So if you are doing an MA SocSci degree with Glasgow University, you are going to be able to study these subjects as well as a very, very high number of subjects from arts, which we do encourage you to do. I think I have covered what's on this slide now. Thank you. And let's go into details about the structure of your degree. Our degree, as I said, is a 4-year degree. That is, you are going to have the first 2 years as what we call pre-honors years and the last 2 years as honors years. This is very, very simple, kind of divided into two, really. However, the most important thing is to make sure that you understand what kind of subjects you do in the first year, because they feed into the second year subjects and the honors subjects that is the junior and senior honors year subjects. In the first year, you take 120 credits. And that is 120 is the keyword here, because 120 credits is a keyword really here, because every year you are going to have to take 120 credits. You take 3 subjects in the first year, what we call subject A and subject B and subject C on this slide. So let's say history and politics and sociology. It's a fairly common combination. History is in arts. I mentioned to you earlier that you can take subjects from arts, and politics and sociology are in our college, in the College of Social Sciences, which is where the MA SocSci degree is located. So in the first year, you take these 3 subjects. And in the second year, you also take 3 subjects, but 2 of these will be the continuation of the first 2 years. So that is, for instance, you decide no longer to decide to take history no longer. You continue politics and you continue sociology, and you study something else in addition to these things. So for instance, you either take a subject from arts and you do a year of Celtic civilization, or you take economic and social history, or you can take Central and East European studies. Any of these subjects are possible. This is actually really, really important, because that means that by the end of your second year, you will have studied 2 subjects for 2 years each, level 1 and level 2, and level 1 and level 2, and you will have studied 2 subjects for 1 year only. And I think in our case, it was history in the first year, and I think it was Central East European studies in the second year. The reason why this is really, really exciting and important, there are many reasons why this is exciting and important. One is that it gives you much more general knowledge than you would have perhaps expected initially, because you will have engaged with 4 different things within 2 years. But it's also that it gives you more flexibility, because after the first year, you can actually choose which 2 subjects you want to continue for another year. So it's really, really, if you discover in kind of November that there is something you did in the first year, but you don't really, really like that much after all, then you can drop it after the end of the first year. So there is flexibility there, and there is also time to experiment with subjects. So these were the 2 pre-honors years, and after that you continue to honors. And unlike in school, entering next year and the year after, above your year, doesn't come automatically. You don't automatically get progress from year 1 to year 2. You don't automatically get progress from year 2 into honors. This again is really, really, really exciting, because you have to fulfill a certain number of credits. You have to get your credits, and also you have to get the right grades to be able to progress from the lower year to the higher year. So if you assume that you met the entry requirements to honors in both of your subjects, which in our case were politics and sociology, basically you have two choices. You either do a single honors degree or you do a joint honors degree. If you want to do a single honors degree, you will choose that you continue either politics or sociology, to continue your example, and you devote yourself, let's say, to sociology in the junior honors year, and you devote yourself to sociology also in the senior honors year. That means that you're still taking 120 credits, but all the 120 credits are going to come from the same subjects. You take all the 120 credits in sociology to continue this example. If you are also able to do a joint honors degree, and I'm not entirely certain if we could perhaps have a look at a slide to illustrate this point. But perhaps if we were to go back or indeed go on and move on to the joint honors degree slide now. Thank you. You will see what I'm trying to illustrate now. First 2 years are exactly the same because you don't need to make this decision at all. And then you are doing joint honors, which means you divide your time, attention, and indeed and the dedication to your studies between two different subjects. You take half of your credits in sociology and you take half of your credits in politics. That is 16 sociology and 16 politics. And you do exactly the same in the senior honors year. Now, this is the point when people ask me, do a number of questions every year, and I'm going to answer them before you ask them. That is, people ask, is it better for me to take joint honors or single honors? To this, there is absolutely no answer, because it is not really going to influence your job prospects unless you're studying something very, very, very specific and you think that is you need both subjects to be able to get that particular job. Some people like the idea of doing single honors because they really want to immerse themselves in sociology, and some people like the idea of doing joint honors because they want to immerse themselves both in sociology and politics. Also, it's important to bear in mind that doing a joint honors degree doesn't mean that you have to work twice as much, right? So basically, it means that your 50% of you is devoted to this subject, to one subject, and our 50% of you, your time, your energy, your enthusiasm, are devoted to the other subject. There is no weighting difference between the two subjects. Sociology and politics are exactly the same as politics and sociology, right? So that doesn't matter. The other question is about when it comes up at this dissertation. If you're a single honors student, you have to write your dissertation in the single honors subject. If you're a joint honors student, you can choose if you want to write your dissertation, which is, the crowning achievement of any student's life, in sociology or in politics, to stick to our example. So this is roughly degree structure, and I think what you see already, it's very important to understand that you have a fair amount of choice, even certainly before the first year, during the first year, and even at the moment of entry to honors, you have a fair amount of choice. I would also like to mention something else to you, which is not on these slides, but something that we are very proud of. And that is internationalization, and the fact that the university takes pride in encouraging internationalization and encouraging study abroad. Study abroad is something that many universities do in the UK, and we are also part of that high number of universities. We have a huge number of partners internationally, and when I mean internationally, from Japan to New Zealand to South America, and you can list all the continents basically, where we have international partners. Studying abroad takes place during the junior honors year. And that means that when you're studying abroad, you are studying courses that correspond to Glasgow courses or stand in as Glasgow courses. You study abroad at one of our partner universities. Instead of doing your junior honors year with us, you get credits there, and we accept those credits in lieu of our own junior honors credits. So that is again something that is usually very attractive for people. The plan is now to ensure that many of our students, over 20% of our students, have some sort of international experience. Whether this is studying abroad or something else, that's a different conversation that we should perhaps have if you're interested. But in any case, we encourage studying abroad, and we are in partnership with a number of very, very good universities, and we make sure that the universities are on the same level at Glasgow University to enable you to take advantage of all the opportunities that comes from studying abroad. So I would strongly encourage that. I think I would quite like to hand you back to Ian at this stage, because I think there is a QR code there, or at least let's have a look at that slide for a second. The next slide, thank you. Ian, do you want to say something about scanning it, that you are QR code? You're much better at this than I am.
No problem. So this QR code, if you scan that one, it'll take you to the University of Glasgow's website, where there are a series of pages for all of the different subject areas that you can study when you come to the university to study the MA SocSci degree. Just above that, there's a little link that says the MA Soc Subject Combination Guide. Now that is an Excel document that tells you all the various combinations of subjects you can take as joint honours. So it's got an X and a Y axis, and you can work your way down between different subjects, and it'll tell you whether you can take them as a joint option. If you click through from the QR code, that'll take you to a more detailed subject page on the website. Scroll down until you get to the bit that tells you all the various joint honours options, and that'll give you a good indication of what you'd be able to take when you're here and what subjects you could later swap round to become a joint honours student. So as Susanna said, if you start with 3 subjects and later decide you'd rather move to joint honours in 2, these websites will tell you if that's possible later on, usually due to time management or scheduling conflicts. So definitely encourage everyone to have a look through those pages. If they've got any questions about them during this talk, you can drop them in the chat. If you've got any other questions, you can always contact the admissions team here at Glasgow, who will be able to answer those questions. And if they can't, they would pass any other questions on to us so we can get in touch. So this slide is popping up now, kind of shows you the process through which you can use those pages. So the QR code will take you to the undergraduate student pages. Find the subject you're interested in looking at. Once you go into that one, I'll take you into a page that's got general information about that subject. So it'll give you a little blurb about it. It'll give you an indication of assessment and all the various things that will go on. And then if you scroll down, this slide should show us down to, the degrees and UCAS code section. That'll show you a list of all of the subjects that you can take at joint honours, and I'll just have a closer look. So there'll be a section for the MA SocSci degree, and that'll tell you all the ones that you can take in combinations with us in our degree.
And one more thing, if you don't mind me adding something, is that in the first year where you choose your 3 subjects, we as the advising team make sure that you only take subjects that are possible in any combination with the other 2. Why is that? So for instance, you can think of it as a triangle, right? And you have to try your triangle, which is like this, right? In this case, and that means that why do we do that? Because we want to make sure that you have as many choices as possible in the second year and also in the junior and senior honors year. It very often happens that students come to us to say that I only want to study X, and I'm not going to say anything just now what X could be. But we have to say, very sorry, but you have to study 3 subjects. And there's a discussion after that, and students obviously accept that they have to study 3 subjects. And it does happen very often that they come back to us and say, oh, by the way, I came to Glasgow to study X, but I'm really going to graduate this June in a single honors degree in Y, which I never actually thought I would take. So this is why it's very important that we have the flexibility that allows you to choose a very, very high number of subjects. Also, at the same time, it's very important. We do need to make sure that you only study subjects that will eventually lead you to a degree. And I think I would strongly just what Ian said about the the description of the subjects, the subject descriptions, that is what politics is, what history is, what Celtic civilization is, and so on and so forth, is very clearly laid out on the university website. And the reason why I would like to mention that as the last thing is because students very often discover that what they thought, for instance, history was, is not what university teaches under the banner history. So basically there is always a tremendous learning process in September and October to actually understand what a certain subject means in tertiary education as opposed to secondary education. Ian, would you agree with that? Is that your experience too?
Yes, definitely. I would encourage everyone to have a look at these pages, have get a good idea of the kind of subjects that you're interested in, and even if you're completely set on which 2 subjects you know you're coming here to do for joint honours, that's fantastic. But have a look at what that 3rd subject might be. Make sure it can fit in, and then you'll be good to go when it comes to registration and enrolment in September.
The question, there is obvious question of filling in your UCAS form, which people who want to come to university will need to fill in because that's the way to get into university. It is subjects that you've put on your UCAS form are not necessarily binding. So there is a fair amount of variety. Just you might come in on let's say politics single honors, and you might decide that as you go on that you don't want to do politics single honors at all, for instance, as you go on. However, there are certain subjects that need to be listed. They need to be listed on your UCAS form. So, for instance, there are international relations is one of those subjects, and film and television studies, which is taught in arts, but I would like to mention this here anyway, is one of those subjects too. That is, you can only study international relations IR if it's part of your UCAS code. So I would strongly recommend that when you are that's the only way for us to guarantee a place in a course which is very, very sought after. Film and television studies is clearly one of those other subjects as well. There are also other subjects that belong in this category. So economics, business management, international relations, and film studies are in particular those subjects that need to be listed on your UCAS form. Otherwise, we are not going to be able to guarantee you a place on that course. That is to be, please bear in mind that on your UCAS form, you can only put down 2 subjects and you have to study 3. You see what I'm saying? So so the UCAS form is something that guarantees you, if you're admitted, the UCAS form guarantees your place in that subject, for instance, international relations. And those who don't have IR on the UCAS form and still want to be to study international relations might be very, very lucky and get a place. But we are committed to providing places and offering and providing places to those students who actually put the relevant subject on the UCAS form. In order to be able to do that, to understand which ones are those courses that require, require the note on the UCAS form already, the subject on the UCAS form already, please do consult our website. And if you have questions about admissions criteria, for instance, admissions is the place to go to. Yes, we look forward to getting questions. No questions from anybody? That's totally unusual.
So one thing is, please do ask any questions now in the comments, and we'll do our best to answer them as you ask. In the meantime, I was just going to say that this might all seem like a lot of information, and it's a lot of 4 years into the future is a long time. But just to reassure everyone, there is support in place. So this team is the curriculum guidance and support team. So we're here to help students academically in terms of their course choices, knowing what subjects they can take, what subjects they maybe can't take in terms of clashes or progression. But there's also, everyone gets an advisor of studies, which is an academic who will be your advisor of studies throughout your 1st and 2nd years at least. And they'll be there to answer questions about academic issues or things that more academic rather than administrative. But there's also a student support team who are there for things that are less academic and more personal or less tangible. There is a team there to support that we can help students get in touch with so they can reach out to themselves. So Rest assured, there are lots of support mechanisms in place to make sure everyone's looked after, but also that everyone's got the knowledge and the ability to make their own decisions about their own curriculum. But hopefully those decisions will be ones that work out best for everyone.
I would also call your attention to the fact that the College of Arts, which is, if you like, our sister college, has its presentation at 2 o'clock this afternoon. And given how close our subjects are, and given how many of our students, which is basically everyone, take subjects from both schools, in fact, just about everyone from both colleges, just about everyone does that, I would strongly recommend that you go along to 2 o'clock and have a look at their presentation. I think we have a question about the benefits of studying abroad. I don't know if that's what the question is exactly, about the benefits of studying abroad. Before I go into that, most of our partner universities teach in English. So that before you get worried about that, there are some countries where the language of tuition, the language of instruction is not English. Very few. Very few universities are like that, primarily French-speaking and Spanish-speaking in Francophone and Spanish-speaking countries. But basically, the language of instruction is primarily English, irrespective of the geographical location of the country. Why is it a good thing to study abroad? Lots of reasons. One is the grades. One is you get to know something about a country. And that is something that is very beneficial, especially if it happens at a young age. You meet people that you wouldn't necessarily meet, partly because universities are international institutions. And therefore, you meet the locals, so to say, but you also meet a big international cohort. And that you normally leads to lifelong friendships. This is what we have been experiencing. I've been involved in internationalization and study abroad projects for more than 10 years now, and students have no one has ever regretted going abroad for a year. So there is no tuition fee involved, in the sense that during your year abroad, you pay your tuition fee, whatever it might be, to Glasgow University. And for this, you get tuition as well. For instance, we normally have students going to University of California, Berkeley, and I couldn't possibly tell you what the tuition fee there would be, except that our students pay to Glasgow University. And in the case of a Scottish students, that's SAS-funded Scottish students, that's zero. So you think of that as a very interesting idea. Also, you encounter different new kinds of teaching, new types of classroom culture, new ideas, different ideas from what we normally follow at Glasgow. So this is it's a very good thing. Adventure. Part of it is also adventure personally, intellectually, culturally, in every sense. It's also a good idea. It's also something that makes you really interesting when it comes to. This takes place in the junior honors year. The rule is that it has to take place in the junior honors year. So, and this is the stage at your career when you're already thinking of what happens next after graduating from university. And talking about your international experience in New Zealand or California or Switzerland or Japan is something that you can really talk about at job interviews after you graduate. And I'm absolutely certain that this is something that makes you stand out as an interesting person. You will be remembered. So that's a very practical, very important advantage. Ian, you want to say something? Sorry.
I was just going to say there's a few questions there about politics and international relations as well at level 1s and 2 in first year. Whether they are the same subject in first year and
Yes.
whether they roll together. So yes, basically in levels 1 and 2, politics and international relations are essentially the same subject. So you couldn't, for example, take joint honours in politics and international relations or study them both in first year. They're essentially the same subject. But I'll let Zeus answer any more questions about that if there's any other information.
basically you are enrolled in politics and international relations in year 1 and year 2. So students sitting in the classroom either study politics or international relations. It's exactly the same course. The only difference is that if you are studying international, if you want to continue to study international relations after the second year, you can only choose from other SPS subjects, and that is what I listed in the middle of those purple subjects. If you look at them, whereas if you are studying politics, you can do joint honors in politics and other things, for instance, modern language, and that's also. And that is also an important consideration. If you come in on an IR plan, that is, you put IR international relations on your UCAS form, you can very easily change in. They come to us and we change it, basically change the politics. So, for instance, if you wanted to discover that you want to do Spanish and something political, then we can change you to politics, and you do politics and Spanish for your junior and senior honors years. There is this very slight difference in also in the honors course selection, but this is really far in the future. So what I would like to, but is important to bear in mind, though, that international relations is to some extent more limited in the sense of the other subjects you can study with it, but we can move you on to politics, and then you have all the freedom. So, any other questions?
There's a question there about the entry requirements. That would definitely be something that would be best contacting admissions directly about. They're the specialists in entry requirements. So we popped in the contact details for admissions on a previous slide. So one of my colleagues will put that contact details back into the chat as well. They have an online inquiry feature and a live chat feature as well. So hopefully you'll be able to get an answer from them soon as well. There's a question as well right now that is, if you've not applied for politics through UCAS, can you still opt to take it in first year, unlike with international relations?
In theory, you can take politics. In practice, because there is no stipulation that you have to have it on your UCAS form. In practice, the question is if there are any spare places. After those, first we have to take those students. First, we have to enroll those students give priority to those students who have it on their UCAS form, and it kind of that varies from year to year. So sometimes it's fairly easy, and other years it's not. It's kind of unpredictable. But in principle, yes, it's possible to do politics.
So any last questions, get them into the chat now. We might only have time for one more question, I think, because we'll be finishing up very soon. But if you've got any questions afterwards that you didn't think of at the time, or if you have any questions that crop up later on in the day after attending any other talks, please do drop admissions a question. If it needs to be answered by us, they'll pass that on to us and we'll be able to answer that for them. There's always a way to get an answer from us.
Well, thank you very much. If you have no questions, thank you very much for coming along, and we look forward to hearing from you. And we look forward to seeing you in September.
Exactly. Thanks, everybody. I hope everyone enjoyed that, and I hope you all learned something. So, yeah, we'll see you in September. Thank you.